So for today, I think we're going to talk a little bit about the whole energy. I was just hearing a couple of people talk about energy changes because good people even have their breaking point, something along those lines, and how you can only treat somebody in a way so many times before there's a kitty here, so you might see I'm babysitting, cat sitting, not baby, but it is a baby cat. So as I was trying to say, they were talking about how energy can change because, people treat each other the way they treat each other. And after so many times, a good person has a breaking point. And it's very interesting because why would we have a breaking point if we're doing something with the awareness that nobody's perfect, with the awareness that people have insecurities and unresolved trauma, attachment wounds, but that's the part. A lot of people, they watch the movies exaggerate and or aren't really a great example of anything. I mean, I kind of knew that, but apparently some people don't remember it. So they actually create an idea about everything. And it's very interesting because it makes me think of teenage land. But I thought people would grow up and not be teenagers. Apparently not everybody likes to educate themselves because I don't know why. So let's educate ourselves. People are born like everybody else at 0 years old age, 0 years old, or they were 9 months in a belly. And attachment researchers have done a lot of great finding to understand what happens in those first 7 months of life, the first year of life, and even the last trimester, I believe. So people are affected by a lot of different aspects. One gene cannot make you anything, and your environment matters, and your past is carried with you. Lo and behold, trending topics are around. Luckily for us, yoga is one of them. And yoga, as well as all of the holistic practices and mindfulness practices, actually are supportive of the human body. The human body has this lovely ventral vagal nervous system. It's our mammalian heritage, and it works with the cortex, while the fight, flight, freeze, fright, the one that is our reptilian nervous system, it works with our brainstem and our limbic system. And those are a lot faster, the limbic system, because that's to protect us. Our survivor mode is going to be faster, and plus implicit memory is a part of that. In the first 3 years of your life, you have implicit memory building up. Then you're going to get explicit memory. So this, for example, from my lovely trauma-informed courses, somatics, trauma, somatic experiencing, attachment, all things that I love learning about because I love supporting people to be their self. And lo and behold, being yourself actually is your human nature, but with love, and that would be with your ventral vagal state engaged. And this is the part that gets a lot of different, how can I put it, piece of information. So I'm going to try and use it this way. We learn to self-regulate with the nervous systems of the people that are around us. And mammals, as Daniel Siegel points out, are alloparenting. So we don't only have one attachment figure, but we will have a handful. When we're teenagers, then we have this pruning process of our brain, and we also look to our peers to become our new attachment figures. So nobody is really a good or bad person, a 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, or a 5D functional adult educator, somebody who cares about the entire human race and knows we're not evil. No, the devil don't exist. So sorry that some people only do certain types of reading and not others, and meaning they don't even try to figure out that we are the human species, and so insulting each other is actually an indication that you're insulting yourself. As a teenager, I'm like, why are you insulting yourself? Of course, people can be frustrating, but can't we all? I know I can. So this is where your memory is actually made up primarily of those feelings, because these sensations and emotions that arise, and people don't understand this part either, because again, they don't look into all of the different components. You can't only learn about neuroscience or only about psychology, because first of all, psychology, they have different types of therapies. If you do cognitive or behavioral, you're not going to learn about somatics. If you do somatics, you're not going to learn about the narrative one. And really, you then don't know about neuroscience either. And so it's a person's an embodied brain, first of all, and then we have muscles and tissue and bones and all that stuff. And in fact, muscle, tissue, and bones, that's where trauma memory is stored. So people are not born demons or evil, but they have experiences they carry, and it's called trauma, and it's called actually dysregulated and modulated embodied experiences. So some people live their entire life in their sympathetic or in a type of shutdown mode. And the part about your energy changing after people treat you a certain way is an adaptive child emotional response. I'm gonna be upset now that you didn't treat me the way I wanted you to be treating me, which is fair and square, but that's where you obviously, again, don't know why humans do what they do, which is fair and square. Now you do. So, good people, every person is a person with a heart. And the ones who are not, quote unquote, good are the ones who need the support of people that are educated enough to understand that if a human being is being nasty, it ain't because there's a devil or evil. And I personally did grow up with Jesus and God, and I actually had a chit chat with God the day that I read enough to know I don't see evil. I see suffering, and I read about it in all of these psychology books, and I read about it in my history books and sociology books, and pretty clear to me. And I think your son said something about forgiveness, and I'm not really seeing it from the people that use your name or his name, and to this day I don't see it. And it's sad because I loved every one of those years that I did catechism. Oh, it's also sad as a Reiki practitioner to know that there are theologians that are actually building a case about how Reiki is obviously not the Holy Spirit energy, because apparently we don't have that seal of approval, and they're disregarding completely that energy is energy, by the way. And we're in 2023. So, I don't think we're in the future. I think some people live a little bit in the past and are not appreciative of technology and science and newfound information, or anyways, maybe they don't know about it. We do have a museum that teaches creationism in the United States of America. So I'm kind of like, wow, I didn't think that was possible. I do know about the separation between church and state due to my political science degree. So I'm kind of wondering, oh, wait a minute, that's every state chooses certain things. So you can't stop that free will to do religion the way you want, but to unteach science, I'm like, okay, no wonder we have flat earthers. Again, love them, but they could be using their brains to do something for the entire human race, like a lot of people, but they're battling the human race because they're busy with the social stuff. Like, oh, some people are going to be mean to you, and now you can say, my energy's changed, and I'm never going to forgive you, ever, ever, ever. So this person was talking about basically people who treat each other in a way that if you're smart enough, again, you would know that somebody who treats you a certain way didn't have a good past for themselves. And the reality is you can also speak up very straightforwardly, and you can also walk away. Your energy doesn't have to change. Flexibility are boundaries. So it's not about telling somebody what to be or not to be. This is the other part. A lot of people, they get on each other's cases in relationships for nothing more than different ways of doing something. And it's interesting, again, that we're not in the scarlet letter times, and yet you got people yelling at each other about cheating versus being open to polyamory, which is ethical non-monogamy. Seriously, ethical. Does anybody know how to use words? Oh, I forgot. That's right. Adaptive children who have unresolved trauma don't. They weaponize words. As our lovely Patrick Tiahan points out, therapist who is a childhood trauma survivor. And I've seen people, quote unquote, see this word, they don't weaponize words, they use words. Educated people know when somebody's using a word because you're not the knowing of everything, neither am I. And so, because neither of us are all knowing or all powerful or any of that, a smart person is going to look at somebody who is using words to quote unquote insult or whatever as a person who doesn't know how to use their words, and we will tip our hat and thank them as we mature. So self-regulation, it's quite amazing. We'll talk about that one in the next video. But yeah, self-regulation is what comes as you mature emotionally and mentally. Integration of the brain and restorative embodied self, which is the optimized version of the human being, by the way. It's straightforward. I am not the smartest kid on the block. If I can do it, you can do it. And so can the entire, well, we'll have to see about that one. But the mental health experts have a lot of answers. And that's great and dandy. So see you soon.